Good evening and welcome to the Village of Riverside Board of Trustees regular meeting of Thursday, September 4th, 2025. Please stand as you're able for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Stenzel, please call the roll.
Trustee Fitzgerald.
Here.
Trustee Gallegos.
Here.
Trustee Mateo. Here. Trustee Evans.
Here.
Manager Francis.
Here.
Attorney Pickrell.
Here.
Also present, Clerk Stenzel.
We have a quorum for this evening's meeting. President's report. I don't see Commissioner Aguilar.
I don't see it.
We were scheduled to have a resolution honoring the Village of Riverside 150th anniversary from Cook County Commissioner Aguilar. We'll hold that off in case he's running late or reschedule it for another meeting if he's unable to attend tonight. I do have a proclamation that I wanted to read. It is National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation. Whereas September is known globally as Suicide Prevention Month, the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation was created to raise the visibility of mental health resources and suicide prevention services available in our community. The goal is to start the conversation about mental health and the impact of suicide to help destigmatize the conversation and help connect people with the appropriate support services. And whereas, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 14 and 25 and 34, with more than 49,000 people dying by suicide annually in the United States. And whereas on average there are 132 suicides committed daily, each of which directly impacts the lives of at least 100 additional people, including friends, service members, family, social media connections, and neighbors. And whereas the Village of Riverside publicly places its full support behind those who work in the fields of mental health, education, and law enforcement. And whereas organizations like Hope for the Day and the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Illinois, serve on the front lines of this war, which many still refuse to discuss, as stigma regarding suicide and mental health issues is far too prevalent, and whereas the village encourages all residents to take the time to understand the importance of mental health education and recognize that taking care of ourselves and others includes taking care of mental health. And now, therefore, be it resolved that I, J. Douglas Pollock, on behalf of the Village of Riverside, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2025 as National Suicide Prevention and Action Month in the Village of Riverside. In witness hereof, I have set my hand and affixed a seal of the Village of Riverside this 4th day of September 2025. And I would just add a note, asking for help is a sign of strength, it is not a sign of weakness. And if you are able to ask for help, you are showing great courage and strength. Upcoming meetings. September 9th, the Landscape Advisory Commission meeting, 27 Riverside Road, Village Hall, room 22, 6:30 p.m. September 10th, Economic Development Commission meeting, Village Hall, 6:30 p.m. September 11th, Preservation Commission meeting, Village Hall, room 4, 6:30 p.m. September 15th, Historical Commission meeting, Village Hall, 6:30 p.m. And September 18th is our next Village Board of Trustees meeting in this room at 6:30 p.m. again on September 18th. That concludes my President's report. Do we have any trustee reports for this evening?
We do.
Trustee Gallegos.
Yes, thank you. I wasn't at the last meeting. Something unexpected came up, but I do want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who made the sesquicentennial possible. We had many sponsors like Flood Brothers, Arm Arts, Starbuds, the list can go on, and we'll formally thank them later on. I don't want to take an hour here, but it was made possible by our sponsors, by the volunteers, the committee with Aaron Wieland, Jane Lauritsen, Colleen, Sheila, Aberdeen, of course, who's on the board and co-chair with me, Diane Silva, the staff, all of our community organizations that stepped up to make the soiree and the festival possible. If you wanted to have a chance at dunking in a tank, you missed your chance because it only happens once every sesquicentennial, so that's done and over with. Speaking of the organizations, however, we will have an event at the Township Hall this Saturday from 10 o'clock to noon, and it will have Lions Club, Juniors, Raw, Ride Riverside, Chamber of Commerce, Friends of the Library, Township Board, American Legion, and the list can go on from there. Looking back at the 150 years of our history, it's been made up of volunteers to make everything possible and to get our village to where it is. And speaking of which, each year the Lions Club honors someone who volunteers for the benefit of the community. And this year, as you may know, Aberdeen Marsh Osga has been honored as Person of the Year. Tickets are available for that Person of the Year dinner, which will be on September 17th at the Golf Club. They are available at the library and Diana's and Riverside Bank. And they should be purchased by next Wednesday. And that is all I have for today.
Thank you. Any other trustee reports this evening? Manager Francis, manager's report.
Thank you. I have a couple of items this evening. School District 96 will be hosting the Blythe Park Playground Visioning Session at Blythe Park Elementary on Monday, September 8th at 8:15 a.m. and Tuesday, September 9th at 6:30 p.m. Please note that while there are two separate sessions, it's just based on availability of residents and for community engagement. The two sessions will mirror one another in content and discussion. So if you're only able to make one, they will cover the full spectrum of the items related to the potential park designs, and we'll want to get feedback from the community at large. Also, I would like to thank Janice Foley, as Trustee Gallegos mentioned, this Riverside Community Organization Fair that's being held this weekend. Janice Foley, who's Riverside Library Director, and the Riverside Library team for coordinating this event this weekend. While the village is a co-sponsor, as well as Riverside Township, the library has definitely taken the lead, and we appreciate that. Also, I wanted to make mention that the village has sent out a number of communications regarding our aggregation program and the electric rates, and this was based on the board's feedback during the electric aggregation discussion, requesting that we make sure that residents were aware of the ComEd rates, were aware of what currently the ComEd rate is versus our aggregation rate. So residents are actually saving if they did not opt out of last year's program, because our aggregation rate is a fixed rate through the end of September. Our new rate will begin in October of 2025 and run through October of 26. The September rate right now for ComEd is 10.049 cents per kilowatt hour. Our new fixed rate under our new aggregation program will be 10.9 cents per kilowatt hour. You can find more details on our social media, on our trending article on our village website, and also we have sent out e-flashes related to that. Also, finally, we ask for everyone's patience during school arrival and dismissal. School is in session, so please, if you walk, bike, or drive, do so safely in our school zones. Please allow for extra time if you are traveling in those immediate areas by our school zones. That's all I have this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comments, non-agenda items. We don't have anyone in the audience this evening, so no public comments. Consent agenda. Clerk Stenzel, please read the consent agenda.
Approve voucher list of bills September 4th, 2025. Approve Village Board of Trustees regular meeting minutes August 21st, 2025. Approve Village Board of Trustees executive session meeting minutes August 21st, 2025. Review and file board and commission minutes. Sesquicentennial Ad Hoc Committee regular meeting July 14th, 2025. Parks and Recreation Board regular meeting July 28th, 2025. Review and file department monthly reports. A motion to approve revised Village of Riverside fiscal year 2025 official pay plan. An ordinance approving amendment to apartment lease 8 West, apartment number 1. An ordinance approving amendment to apartment lease 8 West, apartment number 2. An ordinance approving amendment to apartment lease 8 West, apartment number 3.
Do any of these items need to be removed from the consent agenda? If not, could I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda?
Said second.
Motion and a second. Clerk Stenzel, please call the roll.
Trustee Matrosca? Trustee Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Trustee Gallegos?
Aye.
Trustee Mateo?
Aye.
Trustee Evans?
Aye.
Motion's approved, consent agenda is approved. Department, board, and commission reports. I understand we have a report from Director Malchiotti.
Good evening, President Pollock, Village Trustees, Manager Francis. I wanted to provide a quick update on some events and programs that we have coming up. I'm happy to announce that our online winter-spring program brochure will go live at 5 p.m. tomorrow. This will cover programs from September through January. It'll include your favorite programs along with many new ones, like nature classes, family events, cooking, wine tasting, and art classes, just to name a few. And now we've made it even easier for you to register for our programs. Our online brochure will have hyperlinks for each program next to it. So once you find a program that you like, you click on the link right next to the description. It'll take you directly to the registration page specifically for that program. We've also added an option to share links to the programs you've registered for with family and friends to help us spread the word about all of the exciting programs that we offer. We have another family bingo bash next Friday, September 12th at the Township Auditorium from 6:30 to 7:30. Pre-registration is required at $5 a person, and registration will close on Tuesday, September 9th at noon. These events are very popular, so make sure you secure your spot. Climb, explore, and discover at our annual Touch a Truck event, where kids of all ages can get up close to fire trucks, police cars, public works vehicles, garbage trucks, and more. When I say kids of all ages, I'm including adults. Don't miss this family event, which will be held on Thursday, September 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. at the historic water tower. And while we have many different vehicles, I'd like to extend our thanks to the fire department, police department, and public works department for bringing their vehicles out, but also allowing themselves and their employees to engage with the community. It's a great opportunity for Riverside staff to engage in community outreach. Our other upcoming events are our Trunk or Treat on October 9th and our Haunted House at the Cabin on October 18th.
Yes.
More information on these events will be coming in the weeks, but make sure to mark your calendars. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other department, board, or commission reports? Seeing none, we have no pending business, but we do have some new business. A resolution approving a water sale, purchase, and supply agreement between the Village of Riverside and the Village of McCook. Public Works Director Tab.
Good evening. In front of you is a water agreement between the Village of McCook and the Village of Riverside for purchase of water. And this is being revised because the IEPA loan from the state, there's a stipulation in there that requires us to be under agreement for the duration of the payback, which is 30 years on that loan. If you'll notice, the revision for a period of 35 years, because if we were to secure any funding in the next couple of years, we wouldn't want to have to go through this process again. It's very straightforward. Any questions?
Any questions for Director Tab? Any discussion? Would someone like to make a motion approving the resolution?
Move to approve.
Motion, second. Any discussion? Clerk Stenzel, please call the roll.
Trustee Matrosca?
Aye.
Trustee Fitzgerald?
Aye.
Trustee Gallegos?
Aye.
Trustee Mateo?
Aye.
Trustee Evans?
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Discussion of Village of Riverside Financial Forecast 2026 to 2030. Director Zavala.
Thank you and good evening. Tonight we will discuss the five-year financial forecast for 2026 through 2030, and staff will ask a few questions at the end for guidance preparing the annual budget. If anyone has any questions in between, please feel free to ask while we're going through the presentation. A financial forecast is a budget planning tool used to project conservative revenues and expenditure projections over a period of time. These projections are made using factors such as trend analysis, CPI, and current economic factors. As information is received or the economy shifts, so do the projections. A quick review of the main revenues to watch. Property taxes are one of the biggest revenues for the village. They make up about 45% of total revenue. There is always a constraint on this revenue due to the property tax extension limitation law that limits non-home rule communities to CPI or 5% annual increases, whichever is less. This year, the rate is 2.9% and will be used in the calculation of the 2025 levy. The police pension contribution increases outpace the increase of the levy and compress the portion that is designated for the general fund. Right now, the second installment of the property tax bills are not ready to be distributed to the residents by Cook County. We are anticipating December to receive the disbursement, but that's just an estimate. Right now, banks are offering short-term loans and lines of credit to help municipalities with cash flow, but at this time, we do not have to explore any of those options due to the reserve policy that Riverside has. We have a committed cash flow of $2.5 million right now, and that is 25% of our budget. So we're in a good space right now. We will not have to look into any of those items. Next slide, please. Municipal sales tax revenues are expected to decrease next year due to the sunset of the grocery tax on January 1st, 2026. I also want to point out our 2025 revenue. There is a typo in the narrative. It's $725,000, not $7 million. I apologize.
You had our hopes up.
I wish. The grocery tax can always be evaluated in the future if the board chooses to do so. There has been a reallocation of the use tax that used to be distributed on a per capita basis. That's what's causing the large increase in the sales tax right now in our projection. We will not know till the end of the year the extent of the increase of sales tax or the decrease of the use tax, but it's a considerable decrease in use tax. Next slide, please. Utility and telecommunication tax revenue shows some volatility due to the usage of natural gas and electricity. Residents are more aware of their usage and are conservative. There has been a decrease in these revenues also due to the elimination of landlines and fiber utilities not being taxed. You can do the next one, please. Our building revenues show cyclical trend of peak followed by a trough period. You can see one peak, a next peak, and then we have a smaller peak anticipated. Staff is projecting to finish this year with a decrease of 2% from last year. Following next year is a 5% decrease as well as a decrease next year. Do the next one. Cable franchise fees continue to decrease due to residents moving from cable to streaming platforms such as Netflix and Amazon Prime. This is decreasing. We feel it may remain flat the next 5 years, but that could always change. All of the other revenues are increasing incrementally or not experiencing change at this moment. These are just some of the highlights of issues to note. These projections are taken into consideration while preparing the budget, planning for the future, and monitoring during the year. If we expect certain revenues to decrease, the village manager and myself will do everything possible to mitigate and to strive for a surplus at the end of the year. It's just a very helpful tool to help us figure out what we think is gonna happen. There are assumptions, this is not the budget. So now there are some matters that require board direction. This will help guide staff in preparing the budget. Number one is a question that I do ask every year. There is a portion of the levy extended for Parks and Recreation. The 2024 levy increased from $244,801 to $264,986 for Parks and Rec. Historically, the rate has been 0.0667% per $100 of EAV. The question would be, would the board like to continue with the consistent minimum rate of 0.0667 for the 2025 tax levy calculation?
So trustees, I think we can address this now. And I would just point out that the amount of revenue collected is the same no matter what. It's just, do we collect the minimum that goes directly to Parks and Rec? And the increment then stays in the general fund, which we could use for Parks and Rec if we wanted, or we had the flexibility to use it for other items as well. And the board, I believe, has always done the minimum.
Correct.
Just to keep that flexibility.
Aren't we required to keep the minimum though? It's a levy. Okay, so we wouldn't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, we could go higher.
Yes.
For the Parks and Rec levy, but that would take away from the general fund.
Yes, and it's important to note the Parks and Recreation Fund is a special revenue fund. If it does go to Parks and Recreation, it cannot be transferred out of that fund.
Right, that minimum was established by referendum in 1923, 20-something, you know.
It was in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yes.
A long time ago.
I think we maintain the maximum
2015.
flexibility by keeping it as
My
is.
chart.
Status quo.
Yeah. Status quo,
Okay.
minimum.
Thank you. Next question. Trolley stops. There are 2 trolley stops located in the village and are in need of repair. My question would be to the board, would they like to restore the trolley stops, remove? I did reach out to the museum and see if they wanted to take them, if we would offer a donation, and they declined. So the question at this time would be if we wanted to restore them or to remove them.
Okay, I do have a question on this. Where would they have stored them space-wise? Because those aren't small at all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
I don't know the storage was a viable option to
Yeah.
begin with for that reason, but
So my other question was, the museum asked what else they would like to be done with them?
No, they were interested if there is any signage on the trolley stops that could be donated to the museum. I believe there isn't. I tried to Google map them.
I would like them to opine as to what the possibilities could be. That would be under their purview before we make a decision.
I would like that as well as preservation.
Okay.
These are not, let's be clear, these are not landmarked structures. We can do with them what we choose. They are very interesting, and of course, they actually served the trolley that came through Riverside years ago. Anyone who went to the sesquicentennial play will remember the trolley scenes. But yeah, I would like to get more input from the community, and that starts with the Preservation Commission and Historic Commission.
Will do, thank you.
I'd be opposed to removing them, though.
Are they near bus stops?
The-
Active bus stop?
The
stops?
locations are Northgate and Delaplane, I believe, and 26 and Des Plaines. Yes.
I think the one in Des Plaines is part of the 304 for a lot of RV students that do take the bus.
I
Maybe.
would
I
have to
don't
look
know.
it up. Yes, I would have to look it up, unless,
So it is partially in use. I mean, it's not just decoration.
it,
Yeah.
It's used a lot. I drive by there.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
people sitting there often. But I don't know if it's part of, on the way of public transport.
Well, yeah, if we keep them, we will need to invest some money because they are falling apart. And they obviously need a paint job, and I wouldn't mind seeing some Riverside branding on them. That's just me. But I think we start with just giving staff direction to put this out in the community through the Preservation Commission and the Historic Commission, and then we can revisit this topic. We have consensus on that? So
Yes, thank you.
proceed. Thank you.
Number 3 is in-service days. Surrounding communities have in-service days for non-union employees to close the village to the public and have the employees complete items such as village-wide training, document retention, and volunteering in their communities on special projects. There are 2 holidays right now that the village is open for President's Day and Indigenous Peoples' Day. These days historically have had very low resident traffic at the village due to residents assuming we are closed on those days because they are holidays. And the question would be to the board, would they like to institute in-service days for non-union employees for us to do items like training and volunteering in the community?
Absolutely.
I like that idea a lot.
Yes.
I do too, and having worked in places that have in-service days, the employees love it. One day without the phones ringing and all that, you can really get a lot done. And so, yeah, I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question, the Malmstrom Trust, which was established in 1933 by resident businessman Fried W. Malmstrom to assist residents with hardships during Christmas time. The trust has not been utilized due to falling under the required threshold. The trust currently has a balance of $7,871 and is an assigned balance in the general fund. The question would be, would the board like to keep the trust in place as is and hold this balance, continue with the assistance during Christmas time, or should the trust be depleted altogether by distributing to residents with hardships?
Trustees, Trustee Evans?
How is it facilitated? Do they call it, they call the village at Christmas and explain a hardship, and that's how we?
So the one item that I have recollection of, because it was, the balance has been below the 10,000 since I started with the village. And so what was done when I was finance director was, the one instance I can think of was there was a resident that was having a financial hardship during our parking permit renewals. And so then we provided, the village through the Malmstrom Trust paid for their parking permit. But beyond that, I'm not aware of it being heavily utilized because the policy says that it needs to be at 10,000 and we're below that.
How does it get above 10,000 donations?
Well, no, it would be just interest. So back in 2003, it was projected that the balance would be at 10,000 and then any returns generated from interest would then be utilized as contributions for these different hardship situations, but that was never materialized. I don't know how they came up with projecting 10,000 from the balance that it was back in 2003. Because, I mean, even in best case scenarios, you know, the rate of return and everything, I don't see that getting to that point within that short period of time. So the policy has remained unchanged from 2003.
So if we were to distribute the funds to people of need, it seems like a lot of work by staff. Have you started to imagine how to do that?
I think probably the most effective way would be to partner with the township, and maybe they can be the stewards of that particular fund. We haven't talked to the township, so to be clear about that yet, but they already provide different services to residents of Riverside Township, but this would have to be more narrowly focused to just Riverside residents, not Riverside Township. But I think that could be a great opportunity as well. As an alternative, if they're not interested, the police department does solicit donations for Sarah's Inn during the month of late November, early December. That could be also an option. If the board is interested in doing this, we would have to have legal review to make sure that we can basically close out the Malmstrom Trust. I don't know how long it needs to be open before we can actually close it. It's almost 100 years old at this point. But that is for Attorney Pickrell to.
I don't have that answer right now. I'll have to look it up.
Thank you.
I'd be in favor of distributing it. And kudos to your department for streamlining and making our funds clearer. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's a consensus.
Yes.
I also, it deserves mentioning, thank you to the family of Mr. Malmstrom who provided this wonderful donation that has helped people over the years. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question, I promise I'm almost done. Municipal motor fuel tax update. In 2019, the option of imposing an additional 3-cent tax on gasoline to increase motor fuel tax revenues was presented as part of the financial forecast. The board opted not to proceed with imposing the tax at that time. Last year, the question was raised again whether the tax levy was unsuccessful to implement the tax, and the tax levy was successful. There was a successful referendum in 2024 for dedicated street funding. The amount of the 2024 tax levy for streets is $289,183 that will be used for streets. Should there ever be a question for funding again, the staff would raise the question in the financial forecast and bring the question to the board if they would like to.
But we don't have this right now, is that correct?
We will be receiving this in this second installment of the tax levy. Total. We have already received half of this, and the rest will be distributed hopefully in December. Yes.
But in 2019, we didn't.
No, 2019 is just a 3-cent tax that was asked of the board if they wanted to. All local municipalities have the option of having their own local motor fuel tax, and Riverside does not at this time. And that was a question that was asked, and it was asked again last year as an option to look forward to if we did not have a successful referendum for street funding. And I bring it up just as an update. At this moment, our CIP plan is funded with this successful referendum, but at any time in the future, if it falls below funding, I will ask the question again if the board would like to implement a tax.
Yeah, I mean, we had 3 at the beginning of the year. We lost one of our gas stations. I mean, we know we're competing against a station across 26th Street that's to the north of us. This would be a huge imposition on them and our residents who utilize those. I'd hate to put them at risk. So I would like to hold off on that motor fuel tax.
No, I'm not asking to, I was just giving you guys an update of that we were successful
Okay.
with the street, excuse me, tax levy referendum, so there's no need for it at this time.
Okay.
It's just giving you guys an update and letting you know that in the future, it's a possibility if needed, but at this time, we do not need it at all. Next question, amusement tax. So there's been decreases in some of the revenues I've shown in the graphs tonight, and staff has been researching potential amusement tax that would be applicable to streaming services to recover from any decreases in revenue. This is in the very early stages, but would the board be interested in staff preparing the amusement tax for a presentation at a future meeting?
I would like to see what possible revenues could come from that, seeing that we are losing the ones from the cable. So I don't know if I want it or not yet, but I'd like to see what those
Yes.
possibilities look like. So
Yes.
I'd be in favor of that.
Staff would gather more information and bring a total package to the board to review, and then give further guidance after the presentation.
Okay.
Is everyone in agreement with that? And I think this is consistent with our discussion we had about the grocery tax. With grocery tax, we discussed the fact that, one, it's regressive, and two, to a degree, it's not discretionary. Everybody has to buy food. Everybody doesn't have to buy a streaming service. And so you can choose not to pay this tax by not having streaming. Yeah, I definitely would like to hear more about this, so we have
So-
consensus. Yeah.
Sorry, do we want staff to do a really deep dive at this point, or come back with initial information about what the options might be and what other taxing units are pursuing it?
Would there be a difference to you?
Well, we wouldn't go as far as drafting an ordinance.
Right.
So it would be what you're envisioning, Trustee Mateo, is kind of doing a preliminary data collection for presentation. It's very difficult to state what kind of revenue is going to be generated, because, every community is unique. But we'll try to get some comparables. This is very new, that most communities are evaluating for the upcoming fiscal year. City of Chicago has had this for many years, and now it's just something that other communities are now evaluating as an option.
Thank you.
I think one thing I would like to see in your staff's evaluation is what is the typical impact on a single household? Let's say the average household has X number of streaming services, they pay X amount of dollars for. Is there a way to equate that to, it's $100 a year for a typical household, it's $50 a year for whatever. So if you can, if that's possible, that would be helpful to have the impact, know the impact on individual households, as well as, to the degree you can, the overall revenue stream.
And just to clarify, it could be, and we have to do further evaluation, but more than just tax on streaming services. It could be in-app purchases, so, or when a child is purchasing. So when you think about it under this sense, if your child is at home and they make a purchase of a video game online, that's not being taxed right now. But if they go to their local Target or Amazon, you're paying sales tax on it. And so it's leveling the playing field in that particular respect too. You know, the in-app purchases, now people don't pay any type of tax, and this tax potentially could impact that, where it's a minor amount but still applied to those types of purchases.
Very good. So consensus is to have direct staff to provide that research and come back to us.
Thank you. Now the last question. Water billing ACH payment incentive or discount. The credit card processing fee has been passed to the residents starting this year, and some residents were upset because they like to use their credit cards and get those points or mileage. And then there's also an issue due to the meter exchange. The entire village is on one cycle. That means 98% of the village is on one cycle. That's about 2,900 accounts. So that, and we're seeing a large influx of residents just dropping or mailing their payments to the front desk, to Village Hall. So that's another issue. I recently went to a utility billing seminar, and I did a poll of the entire room of all the attendees of other municipalities. And I asked if they offer any incentive for ACH, and the consensus was that they do, and it's either like $1 or $2 per payment to have the residents sign up for that. And the reason being is it alleviates the front desk piles. At this time, sometimes over the weekend, the pile is this high where even myself is helping the front desk sort through and make sure they get processed in a timely fashion for the residents. Right now, the calculations for the revenue loss would be less than half of what the fees were being charged for the credit cards that the village was paying. It would also be a reduction in paper and contribute to the village's climate resiliency plan for the road to 2050. Right now, we have about 558 accounts of the 3,000 that are on automatic ACH. A finance goal would be to have 50% enrollment in ACH at this time. And finance is also creating an educational campaign to increase paperless billing to also contribute to our plan. Finance trying to do their part. So my question would be, is this something the board would support us looking into and doing future research to roll this out in 2026?
I would be in favor of this, yes.
Yes.
Thank you. And that's it. Thank you very much for all of your guidance and your time this evening.
Thank you, Director Zavala. Great work. Appreciate it very much. Next item on the agenda is the review of 2025 goals of village departments, advisory boards, and commissions. Director Zavala.
Oh, thank you.
Is that right?
Is it me?
I
I could do
can
it.
go ahead and handle that.
That's what my notes
I could do
say.
it.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So staff has compiled and working with their various commissions and also their departments to not only compile what their achievements have been for the current fiscal year, and so this is a draft for the various departments and commissions, because this is basically through mid-August, as department heads and staff liaisons put it together in coordination with their staff and then also their commissions. And so staff is seeking feedback, partially for this evening, but we also have planned a strategic planning session in October, where we'll take a deeper dive in this. But if there are any prelim or initial questions or feedback on items, staff liaisons and department heads are here to answer any questions.
So our intent is to use this as kind of the kickoff when we have our strategic goal session on October, whatever it is, first meeting, first Thursday in October, and go through these in more detail, have the department heads or staff liaisons or someone present those to us, and from there, then the next step will be for the board to discuss these, and then to develop our own set of goals, strategic goals for the next 2 years as a village board. Informed by, but not necessarily based on the department and other goals, committee goals. So if anything you want to ask about right now, that's fine. If not, the main reason for this being on the agenda is to introduce it and present it to you so you can start thinking about it before our strategic planning session in October. Comments, questions, thoughts?
The planning session will be October 2nd at 4:30, and so it'll be a meeting before our meeting.
Very good. The board does not have a need for executive session this evening, so I would ask for a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion is made.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Any opposed? None? We are adjourned.